This offseason, two Japanese players were the most coveted free agents in the world of professional sports. Yoshi Yamamoto shattered the record for a quote-unquote rookie contract, while Shohei Ohtani, he received the richest guaranteed contract in baseball history, and it wasn't even close. So it got us thinking. I'm James DeGreek.
And I'm the DA, David Artsma, and we're here to give you the top 5 Japanese baseball players of all time.
David, your days with Seattle, you certainly had a couple of Japanese guys on the team. So before we go into the top 5, tell me a little bit about what those guys bring to the locker room. Tell me about how they transitioned from Japanese baseball to American baseball. Be our guide.
Your guide. I don't know if I can be your guide to Japanese baseball, but I'll try, man. Yeah, obviously with Seattle, I played with Ichiro for 3 years. I played with Kenji Jojima there, Hideki Okajima with the Boston Red Sox, Gucci with the White Sox. So I played with a lot of Japanese guys. By no means I'm an expert, but what I noticed, especially with Ichiro, Jojima did a great job. Okajima, it was huge on this. Routines. These guys were ready to play baseball every single day. They were prepared. They loved the game. They respected the game. So the two things I really saw of these guys: respect the game and being prepared, having routines. Ichiro especially, man, was famous for it. Same thing every day, ate the same thing, went home and had dinner exactly the same way. We always tried to get him out to go out and like hang out with us and have like team dinners. But man, he was like on his routine, and I respected him. We all respected him for it. But the cool story was we were always trying to get him to go out to dinner. He wouldn't go to dinner with us, so he brought us to his place so he could continue his routine. But he had the whole team with him there for dinner. It was really great. But I've always loved and respected playing with Japanese players, especially when with the Red Sox going to Japan and playing in the Tokyo series. That was so fun.
What was it like dealing with them because of the language barrier?
Really not a whole lot different than dealing with somebody who's like a Latino who didn't speak English all that well. You just work your way through a translator. The love of baseball, like baseball breaks down language barriers so easily, so much. One thing though I always noticed with them too is like they wanted to learn English so bad. Like Ichiro, first of all, spoke perfect English. Kenji Jojima spoke perfect English. Okajima wasn't great, but wasn't bad either. So we just worked through his translator. And then Iguchi, though, I didn't speak a whole lot with Iguchi, but a lot of it was through the translator. All I know is you can tell without a doubt guys love the game, and that's all you care about. You just want teammates that give a crap.
All right, so give me your top 5 Japanese-born Major League Baseball players. Who's number 5?
Number 5. So, okay, first of all, this is a hard list, right? There's like a couple guys I think that are really high on the list. And then like when you get to like a 4 or 5, it makes it really tough, right? So my number 5, when I'm coming in, is the Yankee pitcher, Masahiro Tanaka.
Masahiro Tanaka, as a Met fan, I hated him because he was a Yankee, but as a baseball fan and someone who really appreciates pitching, that guy was incredible, especially the first few starts with the New York Yankees before he had that partial tear of his UCL. He was absolutely dominating, but he never decided to get the Tommy John surgery, and you know what? He never needed it. The guy just went out and pitched, and when it came to the playoffs, he took it up another notch and was incredible with the Yankees. So I love that guy.
I always respected him, you know, that like his pitches, his splitter was incredible. I love how he attacked the zone. I always respected, like, from the other side, the other dugout, watching him. The dude had never had a losing record in Major League Baseball. He didn't have a ton of years, 7 years under his belt, 78 and 46. It's not like he had this major league record that blew people away. But at the same time, you knew what you were getting every single time out there, which was a tough game, a tough battle. He made a lot of starts every single year. It wasn't like he had these years that was like only a couple starts here and there. He seemed to toe the rubber a lot, and he had everything you could want out of a starting pitcher. I thought he was a great starting pitcher and respected the hell out of him.
Who do you have for number 4, David?
Well, I don't know why there's so many Yankees on this list, but another Yankee at number 4, Hideki Matsui.
Ah, Godzilla. Now, here's a guy who came over with a ton of hype. He came from Japan, had 50 home run seasons. Everybody called him Godzilla. People were expecting him to be great. And you know what? He followed through. He came through. He was a great ball player for the New York Yankees.
Great ball player. Never quite the same as he was in Japan, right? It's hard to live up with that. But he came over here. He was an RBI machine. He ended up having, home run seasons where he was in the 30s, right? He had a 31 season. He had high 20s a couple times. What I always saw out of Matsui was he knew how to control at bats. He wasn't up there, wasn't chasing pitches, would take a double, would take a base hit, would take a walk, and would take a home run just as easily as anything else. There's guys up to step up, especially a guy with the nickname Godzilla, right? He's going to step up and hit a home run. That's all he really cares about. But not with Matsui. He'll take anything you give him, and you give a ball away, he'll take the ball away and drive it down the left field line and for a base hit. You give him in, and he's gonna hit it in the stands. I always respected him because it was a tough at bat, and he's never gonna give in.
David, who do you have for number 3?
Number 3. Now we're starting to move to the pitchers. Another pitcher here. I love it. Yu Darvish.
Wow, Yu Darvish. Now there is an underrated player in my estimation. He has never been that top tier guy. He was never the number 1 best pitcher in all of baseball, but he was always up there in the top 15. He took the ball, and he has been amazingly consistent.
Amazingly consistent is exactly the way he put it. He missed the season in 2015. He had a couple years in 18 where he just wasn't quite himself. Some injury stuff there around that time, but this guy has gone to several different organizations, like the Rangers, you're talking about the Cubs, you're talking about San Diego now. And now at an age of 34, 35, 36, he's put himself back in that conversation of being a top 10 pitcher in the league. And that's really hard to do at 34, 35. He came over here with a ton of expectations, immediately lived up with it with a 16-9 record, 13-9, 10-7 record with the Rangers, 3-time All-Star right out of the gate. And then had the injury and has been able to produce later on in his career to where now we're looking at him with San Diego as the ace of that staff.
All right, before we get to number 2, it's pretty obvious who number 1 and number 2 are on this list. Who do you have as number 2 and who's number 1? Because I can argue both ways.
It's really tough. Obviously, we talked about this, and we've talked about both of these guys all the time. It's Ichiro and Ohtani, right? Just trying to figure out, though, who's the best player out of these two. For my money, for what I think it is, and I got to look at career, I got Ichiro at number 1 and Ohtani at number 2.
All right, before I go with my instincts on this, you tell me, why is Ichiro number 1 over Ohtani?
Oh, okay. So this is extremely hard. It's so funny. Like a lot of times with top 10 lists, number 1 is usually pretty easy. Number 2, okay, you start figuring out. It gets harder as you get further down the line. It was hard at 4 and 5. It is way more difficult at 1 and 2 in this list. To me, longevity of a career, coming over here at an age of 27 years old, already having an incredible career in Japan that was a Hall of Fame worthy career, even at up till 27 years old in Japan, and then coming over and just dominating Major League Baseball. Now, the one thing I have on Ichiro that against him is that he came here to do one thing and one thing only, and that was to get base hits. Right? And when he went up to the plate, it was base hit, base hit, base hit. But that was his job, and he's one of the very best of all time. I think maybe the best all time at doing that job.
You know better than anybody on the planet that I am the biggest fan of Shohei Ohtani. I absolutely love the guy. I was talking about him a year before he made it to Major League Baseball. This is what I'm going to tell you, and for you fans out there, go into the comments, tell us who you think number 1 and number 2 is, because I'm dying to know. But for me, Ohtani already has a 30-plus WAR. In the 2023 season, he had a 10 WAR. He was by far the best player in Major League Baseball. He just got $700 million. The reason for that is he could do everything. You said it, Ichiro, he was a singles hitter. But Ohtani is a two-time MVP and the only two-time unanimous MVP. Nobody's going to do that again. I promise you that. So for me, I've got to put Shohei Ohtani number one. Granted, I know he's only been in the league 6 years, but I got to do it over Ichiro.
I gave you my reasons for Ichiro. I think is better, but the knock against Shohei so far, to me, is you just got to keep doing it. If you end your career right now, you're nowhere near a Hall of Fame player. Nowhere near it. You were a great, incredible Tin Lincecum, like a flash in the pan, amazing career so far. And he's doing things that we've never seen. And everybody knows it. Out there pitching, throwing 100 miles per hour, MVP 2 times as a position player and a pitcher, going out there and having some of the most power in Major League Baseball, leading Major League Baseball in home runs last year. Like, it's absolutely incredible with what the things he is doing. But got to keep doing it, brother. I need more than 6 years of you. I need more than 6 years. Ichiro did it for what? 19 here. And then another, 7 or 8 or 10, whatever the heck it was in Japan. That to me shows that it's so much respect for Ohtani that you're even considered so close of a conversation in such a short time span. That blows our minds.
Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree on this one, but I'll say this. If Shohei Ohtani hits 25 to 30 home runs and bats 280 for the next 4 years so he can get his 10 years of service time, he's already a Hall of Famer. So for me, that's the reason I have to put him over Ichiro.
Yeah, to me, if you got to continue a career to be a Hall of Famer, you're not better than the greatest. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click the like button. More likes equals more great content for you. And if you haven't, subscribe now